Hi there, and Edwards. Thanks so much for joining me once again. Now, he's been reprimanded for mistakenly identifying a registered voter as a foreigner. That was one story that made headlines in our mainstream newspaper, especially when the EC or Election Commission urged the voter to lodge a police report against Dr. Ong Kian Ming, who is MP for Serdang and also DAP Election Strategist, right next to me on Face Off. Welcome, Dr. Ong.
Thanks, Anne. Good to see you again.
Good to have you here. And also Resident Guest Ernie Chen. Welcome, Ernie.
Thank you very much.
Chua Lai Fat, another person you mistakenly thought was a foreigner and to vote. Okay, what have you got to say about that?
Yeah, actually, I did not say that he was a foreigner. I said that given the fact that his name is Chinese and he doesn't look Chinese, he looks like an Indian person, I asked the Election Commission to investigate into this case to see whether he has been properly given an IC or not.
Did you make an assumption that just because he didn't look like a Chinese, that's why they need to be investigating?
Yes, and I think that the basis of that is that I've done a lot of work looking at the electoral roll, and I found many cases of people who have not been given proper ICs, including in Sabah as well as Peninsular Malaysia. So this is one case where I felt that it was necessary for the Election Commission
It was
to
so
investigate.
easy to point fingers at this one person. For you, it was so easy to point fingers.
Well, it wasn't really a pointing finger. I think it was a highlighting of a case which was quite obvious to me initially. And then when I realized that it was actually a case whereby he was adopted by Chinese parents, immediately I issued an apology.
So should there be a lot of such cases then? Because we're Malaysia and we have a lot of people who have been adopted, whether it's Malay adopting Chinese, Chinese adopting Indians. There could be a lot of possibilities on the electoral roll that could be this kind of cases.
Yeah, and,
Sure.
and how can you judge someone by their appearance and also the color of their skin?
Yeah, actually we shouldn't, and I think that this is
It's
something...
highly irresponsible.
No, I don't think it's irresponsible in the sense that I didn't accuse him of being a foreigner. I said that this is a case which the Election Commission should investigate. So I'm quite comfortable with that. But later on, I think once I found out that this was the specific case in question, then I immediately apologized.
Sure, even though you apologize, what is done is done. It's like when you squeeze a toothpaste out of the whole entire container, you can't really refill it back the way it is. Sure. Whatever you say, you're going to make me feel bad. So how do you think you make the family or Chua Lai Fat feel?
Yeah, actually I did reach out to them, and in fact I did have lunch with Chua Lai Fat and his family, and I apologized to them in person. He was actually fine with it.
Why was he fine with it? Because you were an MP? Was he afraid of you that you would do something to his family or provide or cut off all opportunities to his family's businesses perhaps?
Yeah, since he is in your constituency.
Oh, actually he's not. Yeah. He was actually in the Klang constituency. And I don't think I have any sort of that power to be able to threaten him. That's not really the kind of person I am.
But isn't that the impression that most people have if you're a YB MP, etc., you have a certain power and stuff
Well, actually,
like
we
that?
have far less power than people assume, especially since we're in the opposition at the federal level.
So you're saying that because you're in the opposition, you don't have as much voice as the Barisan Nasional government?
I think we have a different sort of voice compared to the Barisan Nasional government, but I think definitely in the mainstream media, for example, we don't really have that much of a voice. That's why I'm very appreciative of you guys inviting me.
So you're
here.
saying the mainstream media are very biased towards the government and that they are just not fair to the
because
opposition?
this is what is said at all or most of your rallies, that media arus perdana, they are like the, would I say, the dogs, and also the speakers for UMNO, for STAR, right?
Well, I mean, that's not the words that I would use, but I would definitely say that the mainstream media is biased, and you can look at, for example, Utusan as one of the prime examples of which it's frequently used to attack the DAP, attack the opposition, and in fact, a lot of the times printing lies and untruths.
But isn't that exactly the same thing as to what the DAP media would be doing, the Red Bean Army that has been quoted, and is that true?
Yeah, I think
that sounds very racist, actually, Doctor.
Why does the Red Bean Army sound racist?
Well, that's the allegation, and the fact that because it's very Chinese, I would say.
Yeah, actually, I want to
by
dispel
DAP.
this rumor, this untruth, this lie. Actually, there's no such thing
It's
as
a lie.
DAP.
You're calling it a lie.
Yes, it is. It is a lie.
So it doesn't exist.
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't. The Red Bean Army, as it's popularly known in cyberspace now, does not exist.
Does not exist. So where did it come out from?
Again, this is untruths that have been propagated by irresponsible people
So
on the
does
side
the
of the
D,
DN.
triple D exist? Destroy DAP? Does it exist from the UMNO?
Demonize, destroy DAP.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that particular term was Kisiang came out with it. I think it wasn't.
Which one, the 3D?
Yes, the
big
3Ds,
brigade?
but I
Okay.
don't. It's not something which is formally organized. But I think in terms of the priorities and objectives of someone like Utusan, an organization like Utusan, that agenda is definitely.
But I find it very interesting. You see, when DAP says it, that's mean it exists. When UMNO says DAP has a Red Bin Army, a lot of the MP just says those are not true.
And most of the people would actually believe that.
Yeah, actually, I think we should always look into the specifics. The devil is always in the detail, and I think as responsible citizens, we should always try to look further into the details. The Red Bin Army accusation was one where DAP spent hundreds of millions ringgit to employ these people on a full-time or part-time basis to attack the Barisan
So
Nasional.
you're saying that no one in DAP has
10,000 of
ever
them.
written anything to attack the Barisan National Government?
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we never spent any resources whatsoever to employ people on cyberspace to attack Barisan Nasional. All these are people who do things on their own effort. DAP has nothing to
You see, it's very interesting that DAP, Pakatan members always say we don't have the kind of resources, we don't have the kind of resources.
don't have money,
You don't
you
have
don't have
money.
money.
But you see,
Yeah.
putting up rallies after rallies requires a lot of money.
And
so
traveling
I don't understand
around.
why you always say that you
Yeah.
don't have the kind of resources.
And traveling around, we have your MPs traveling around, the whole country.
No, actually, that's a good
Sabah
point.
and
In terms
Sarawak.
of our rallies, I think the Barisan would have to put up probably millions of dollars to get organize these rallies because they need to bus people in and whatnot on their own expense. We don't have to do that. People, our supporters come on their own. They pay their own bus fare.
The police have to stop them from attending.
Sure,
really.
yeah. So in terms of resources, in terms of expenditure, all these rallies actually cost us very little.
But it still costs money, right?
Actually, it's very little money.
How much money are we talking about whenever we put up a rally?
I have no idea, but I think it's probably less than 10,000 ringgit. in
Less than
terms of-
10,000 to put up a rally.
Yes.
With 500,000 people coming to a rally.
No, because a lot of people bear the cost themselves.
So we're going to be having a rally tomorrow, right? A big, huge, gigantic. We're expecting 500,000 people.
Which is on June
22nd,
22nd.
yes,
That's right.
June 22nd,
So
Saturday. Yes.
So are you going to be there?
Yes, of course.
How much resources, how much money you think is put in place to have such a rally?
Well, let me give you an example. We have been asked to congregate at 6 different points around the city, and I'll be going to Jalan Pudu where some of the DAP leaders will be at. We, either take the bus there or take the public transportation or drive there. That doesn't require much resources. We march from one place to another. That doesn't require much resources in terms of money. And when we gather at the place in Padang Membok, we do not pay any rental fees as far as I know. And all we need is maybe some sound system setup costs. And that may be provided by people who want to help us out.
Do you think instead of doing all these rallies, the time of these leaders of DAP being YBs should be better spent helping the people in the rural areas, the urban areas? Use that time instead of making a lot of noise on the
Yeah,
streets.
the hardcore poor.
The hardcore poor, go there and help them. Shouldn't we be doing that? And
Yeah,
doing the
regardless
job?
of their race.
Yeah, we're actually doing that already. I myself do that on a regular basis during my service center days.
What
and
do you do
nights.
exactly, Doctor?
So,
Tell us.
what do I exactly do?
Yeah,
I mean, I listen
since
to.
it's not covered in the mainstream media.
Sure, I think all of us as YBs, as representatives, we listen and get complaints and also requests from the grassroots, all sorts of problems.
Are there a lot?
Yes, I have 133,000 voters.
Can they be resolved? Where do you get the money to solve all these problems?
Most of the time, we do not have enough resources to be able to solve the problems on our own, but we rely on people who want to try to help us out in different ways. We rely on some allocation that we get from the state government in Selangor, which we are fortunate enough to be able to have. So we actually do a lot of these things on a regular basis. But I think on Saturday, it's an important point for us to make in the sense that this is one gathering whereby...
I heard it's a decisive moment. What do you guys mean by that?
Well, in a sense that we want to show the Malaysian people that we are united, all three parties in Pakatan, to make a very strong protest against all the things we thought and we continue to think are unfair about the electoral system.
The Barisan government obviously going to just ignore it and say, forget you. What's going to happen next after this? Are we going to have rallies after rallies after rallies every single weekend? Because it's definitely affecting business owners.
Actually, if you look at past experiences with Bersih and whatnot, business owners actually profit from it. Those who stay open, especially the restaurants, you suddenly
But
find
that's
that
not
they
the
are.
reports we hear and we see.
Yeah,
that's
that's
not the
because
reports we see
that's
sound bites.
Yeah,
we see
that's
people
because
talking.
that's usually
Yeah.
from the mainstream media. But if you were down there yourself, I'm sure Ernie, you said you mentioned you were down there in Bersih 3 as well. All those people who are selling soft drinks and whatnot, they were doing a booming business. So.
But would it be at any juncture, any point that it will be possibility? I was down there. It was really dangerous in many ways. A lot of areas where people were
Dangerous in what way?
fighting. Cars were
Fighting,
being
okay.
rammed. There were barricades. It's just not very safe because there's smoke guns.
But sounds exciting, don't
No,
you think?
but that a lot of that was done because of provocation on the part of the police against us.
I'm not saying that who did it, who did what. I'm just saying that by whether it's the Barisan government doing or